Hi everybody, and welcome back to Echo. Before we continue along with Flynn's route, I must warn you, this episode is going to get pretty intense. I'll be putting a full content warning in a pinned comment below the video. Please consider reading that before watching this, and if anything there seems like it might upset you or you're not ready to handle that sort of thing, consider coming back to this later. Having said all that, let's get started. I sit cross-legged on the edge of the bed with a notebook in my lap. I'm sort of half planning out my script and half kicking myself for not doing a lot of this preliminary stuff earlier. I'm also kicking myself for not getting any scans of the photos and documents I found at City Hall. The B-roll I've got doesn't quite cut it. Having actual historical papers with pictures of Echo and Happiness that aren't available online might look good for my portfolio. At least, that's what Jenna said. I kinda doubt they're open on Saturday, so I'd have to talk to Flynn. And Flynn still wants me to assist him with his whole interrogation he has planned. Or at least stay out of the way. For now, I just want to focus on my project. Currently, Jenna is tapping away at her laptop on her side of the room. Although, she seems more distracted than she was at the beginning of this trip. TJ has the TV on to some behind-the-album rock music history show that he's pretty engrossed in, from the looks of it. He lays beside me, his back propped up by pillows. After a few more scribblings for my outro, I toss aside my notebook and slink on over to the other side of the room. I take a few packets of the candy egg oatmeal that we've got about 20 of and empty them into one of the complimentary styrofoam bowls on the table. I know it's for kids, but I've always kinda liked this stuff. I'm a sucker for anything that's bland as hell with the tiniest bit of sweet add-ins, like oat bran cereal with dehydrated marshmallow bits. I fill the bowl with water, about a centimeter higher than the top of the oatmeal. A little bit of maple cinnamon dust rises up from the mixture. And hopefully this pack isn't too old. I didn't check the expiration date before grabbing it from my dorm room. I bring the mixture to the microwave and set it for 1 minute. On the TV, some raccoon is talking about how their music videos went viral back in 2006, and how the fame went to his bandmate's head. It's weird to think that 2006 was nearly 10 years ago at this point. Oh buddy, you have no idea. I remember watching shows like this with my mom as a kid, and they were always about hair metal bands from the 80s and 90s. Each episode was full of grainy, old-pack film photographs of the alleged happier days of the Focus superstar. It has me thinking about how much stuff like that there is from my childhood. There's nearly a gig of videos on my old laptop ranging from home movies, machinima, to class projects I did with the group. Plus, all my social media posts are still there. It's not like those days were faded memories on a sepia-tinted photo roll picture. They're right there in full 1084 by 768 aspect ratio, a few clicks away. Maybe that's why I don't think about Echo with as much nostalgia as someone like TJ or, well, Leo for sure. Speaking of, I checked my phone a little while ago. He hasn't texted me. The microwave beeps and I take the oatmeal out. The directions say to leave it in for 2 to 2.5 minutes, but that always seems like overkill. I like it a bit soupy. I'm going to take a shower. Do you guys want anything? I blink. What? TJ stares blankly at us. Do we want anything from the shower? Jenna, after a couple seconds, looks up from her laptop at the links. TJ? He looks as if he's come to some realization, then quickly covers his face with his paw. Gah! Forget I said the second part. I shift awkwardly, bowl of oatmeal and paw. I didn't get much sleep last night. Jenna sighs. It's okay, neither did I. I didn't wake you guys when I got in, did I? No, we were already pretty much awake. That man shouting in the parking lot was making me uneasy. I didn't hear any of that. Jenna lowers the top of her laptop some, though not closing it all the way. It started a little before midnight. You hadn't arrived yet. It sounded like he was walking all around the motel. He even screamed at our window. Was he yelling anything specific? No, he was just shouting. I heard a few words here and there, but never like any full sentences or anything. He just sounded really, really mad. Or sad. TJ pauses, looking at the bowl I'm holding. Or scared, I don't know. Part of me kind of wanted to call Leo. I can't help but smile a little at that. Really? Wow. I didn't actually. Leo the Protector. I can't believe after all this time, TJ still sees Leo that way. I called the police. They said they'd sent a patrol car, but I never saw one show up. He eventually just left. A little before you showed up, actually. It feels like everyone's on drugs in this town now. Now? Jenna retorts, looking at me with a raised brow. Well, I mean, it wasn't always this strange, was it? Even back growing up, I'd still wager that at least a third of the population was on heroin or worse. It comes with the territory. But I will say, I do somewhat agree with you. Echo depopulated by around 100 people since I was born. That in itself is the other 2/3 of the population. Those that remain didn't have that same level of general township community that we once had. Little that it was. TJ nods, rubbing in his wrists and looking toward the drape-covered window facing the parking lot. I remember when we used to have our own grocery store. Oh, speaking of, we ate at the diner after the hike yesterday. Julian works there now as a busboy. You remember him, right? I think for a moment. Was he the green reptile kid who peed himself in AP Lit? TJ looks a little aghast. What? No! Then I don't know him. That was Cody. Wait, the Cody you dated? Jenna makes a slightly disgusted noise, shaking her head. Ugh, you're thinking of upstate Cody. I never got to meet him. Yes, well... Jenna lets out a little puff of air, pushing up her laptop screen again and typing something. Neither did I. She stops for a moment, turning to look at me. May I have some of that? My oatmeal? Oh, sure. I hand her the still warm styrofoam bowl with a spoon. Damn it, I wanted that. And of course she's digging out all the sugar dinosaur eggs first. So, right, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Julian was telling us that the diner will probably end up closing down at the end of this year. Maybe next if they're lucky. That's like the last business in town besides the motel. The last legitimate business, you mean? I see Jenna nod before taking another bite of my oatmeal. It's no wonder then that people act weird. Even Leo, Carl, and definitely Flynn are different. Did you guys see Janice again after what happened on the road? TJ nods uneasily, the Lynx beginning to busy himself gathering up a fresh set of clothes. I asked her if she was okay or needed any help, and she said she was fine. Great even. But she looked really bad. TJ picks up some red pajama pants that have faded little Christmas ornament symbols stitched in around the bottoms, and pine tree decals on the waist. He also, a bit more discreetly, grabs a pair of bright red underwear and quickly hides them in the folds of the pants. I wonder if he's matching the two intentionally. And I don't mean like ugly. I mean she was kinda grimy and smelled like raw meat. She was definitely on something, TJ. I hope not. TJ turns, shuffling himself into the bathroom. The door shuts. You know... Jenna sets up some. I think it was Clint. Jenna is speaking to me, but her eyes are on our laptop. Huh? The man outside that was screaming. At first I thought he had Jeremy with him and... God, just the thought of that makes me want to get out of this town and not look back. I don't blame you. But... Clint? Judging from popular television growing up, it seems like everyone alive has had a childhood bully. Some with multiple. We had Clint and his little gang of assholes. Jeremy, Micah... Hell, even Heather sometimes. The thing is, in a town of 50 people, escaping your bullies is near impossible. They're everywhere, they hate you, they hurt you, and there is nothing you can do about it. Well, until Leo did something about it. I still remember the squelching noise Clint made as Leo hit him, over and over again outside his own trailer. Leo didn't speak any English, and they were all a couple years older than us. But that didn't stop him. I don't know how things would have turned out if he never moved here. The voice, it had a certain cadence to it that reminded me of him. I resign myself to the notion that Jenna has eaten all my oatmeal at this point. Moving over to the microwave, I grab another styrofoam bowl and a couple more packets. I can already tell there's not going to be enough left to really be satisfying. I'm assuming you haven't gone to see Jeremy and the rest of the family either then? No, and I doubt I will. By the way, how are you doing? I look over my shoulder. She seems to be deciding on a font for whatever she's typing away at. Catching my glance, she meets my gaze for just a moment. And I don't just mean in general. Any sleep issues? And of course, she changes the topic just like that. Sleep issues, as she calls them for my sake. I pour some water on the oatmeal. No paralysis, just sort of strange, really lucid dreams. I think my subconscious wants me to shave off my goatee. This may be the one time you should listen to the voices in your head. I make a growling noise that comes out a lot less intimidating than I had intended. Jenna doesn't look up. What are the dreams like? I let out a long exhale, placing the oatmeal in the microwave. I don't know. I think I'm just tired and it's mixing badly with my current mental state. I've been kind of crawling in my skin since I got here. I saw a face behind someone's shoulder that wasn't really there last night. It wasn't something I thought about much at the time. I was already upset. But the more I dwell on it, I don't know. I shrug, waving dismissively. When I look at Jenna again, I can see the fur on her neck is lifted a little. It was probably just the angle, though. You alright? Jenna looks back at me, and I can tell she's debating whether or not to tell me something. I wait. Just made me think about when I was a kid. I hadn't thought about it for years, actually. I pause. Do you want to talk about it? I'm worried I'm about to open up a can of worms. It wasn't traumatizing or anything like that. Well, it was, actually. But it wasn't real. Did you see a face? Yeah. It was a reddish color. Flat, too. Whoa. Yeah. It had a body as well, but I can't really remember exactly what it was like. Did you dream it? No, not really a dream. At least not in the sense that I was asleep when it happened. I just see it walking around in broad daylight sometimes. What the hell? Are these like real, solid memories? Like it actually happened? I don't know. It usually happened when I was sad or angry. Like when Dad was having one of his moments. You mentioning that you saw something while you were upset reminded me of it. I just see it walk past the doorway or sit in the closet. Really? What the fuck? This was a long time ago, like when I was 5. I don't want you thinking I'm crazy, Chase. I don't. I saw things too as a kid. I mean, more things. Yeah, I think you've told me. I had, and it's something I really don't want to think about right now. I'm pretty sure it's just something my mind made up because I was under a lot of stress. The brain can make up whatever it wants, really. It's part of the reason I went into the field that I did. I want to help figure these things out. Do you see it anymore? At all? She's quiet for a while, then shakes her head. No. I stand up above the turnbuckle, holding my arms high above my head and flicking my strong tail behind me. I hear a lot of boos in the crowd, but that's how it's supposed to be. I'm a bad guy, or rudo as they call it here. I'm not actually a bad guy for real though, it's just an act. The flashing of cameras is a little distracting, but nothing I can't handle. I'm good at keeping cool. I reach up, making sure my mask is secure. Even my muzzle is covered. I can't risk my identity being revealed. Especially in a match against Tigre Santos. He's one of the Technicos, the good guys. A real goody two-shoes. I don't trust him. He's too good. I don't trust people that are too good. They're always hiding something. The announcer shouts in a foreign language that I don't understand and I growl, flexing my giant muscles toward nobody in particular. Tigre has been standing at me from across the ring this whole time. No showboating though, that's not in his character. At like 7.5 feet tall, I'm totally bigger than him. He's only 5'6", so I could basically eat him for breakfast. The crowds always cheer for the smaller guy though, excuse me. I don't. The small guys can be just as bad as big guys. Maybe even worse. I look to the crowd. There's like a couple thousand people here, which is a lot. Sometimes I wish I could just tell them all the truth. The bell rings. It's time. Hey! Dad yells from the kitchen. I flinch, and it feels like my stomach is suddenly tied in a knot. Not now. Please. Dad walks in. He's wearing all camouflage with an undersized scout cap that seems to squeeze his head. What are you doing? I look down at my feet and pick some at the fibers of the rug. I don't respond. I hear him step in front of me. The crowd chanting on the TV catches his attention, then he stops. You know you can't be watching this. And you also know what today is. You're still in your pajamas! Watching this... Dad lets out a noise I really can't describe. I look up and he's pointing at the TV. He stands there, watching for a moment. What is he doing to that other man? A reverse suplex? And this is fun? For you? You enjoy watching this? I don't know. It was just on. I lie. Dad looks down at me and I can't tell whether he believes me or not. When I say something, you need to listen. Last night, I told you to be dressed in the clothes I gave you and be ready to go by 5. It is over 15 past 5 and you're not even dressed. I'm sorry, okay? Dad sighs, stepping out of the room. His footsteps are heavy, like he doesn't care that Mom and my brothers are still trying to sleep. Next thing I know, he's back in the living room. He tosses another camouflage outfit into my lap and sets a rifle on the couch. When your mother and I talked about sending you up north to your uncle, we were not joking. Dad? He points again at the TV. And there's certainly no television up there, no violent video games, and no adults that tolerate this sort of behavior. I ball my paws up into fists, pushing them into my stomach. Don't say anything. Anytime you say anything, it makes it worse. Dad looks at my paws, then lets out a strained, amused-sounding grunt. What? Are you going to hit me? Do you want to punch me now? Is this what you're learning? Again, he's pointing at the TV. His eyeballs are bulging and his mouth is hanging wide open. The way his hat tugs at his head makes him look different, scrunching his features. I don't know why he's wearing it. It looks uncomfortable. I am so sick of your behavior. We are all so sick of your behavior. I feel my breathing start to get shaky. Don't cry. Don't give him the satisfaction. Are you sick? He just keeps staring at me, that same expression on his face. I drop Tigre's torso down on my knee, a backbreaker. The crowd roars. I'm grinning beneath my mask, playing up the part through all the jeering and the hatred. They may love to hate me, but that's still love. Tigre had been getting a lot of good blows in, though. Actual blows. He stiff arms like nobody's business. I'm a little bloody, but that's okay. I'm tough. That's my thing, I'm tough. I'm really tough. But so is Tigre. He's small, so he's got a lot of finesse, and can dodge a lot of my stuff. I climb over the top rope and onto the floor mat below. They always keep a few goodies beneath the ring for people like me. Pulling the flap up, I find a pile of long wooden staves. These could cause some pain! I yell out to the crowd, and they boo in response. They're really, really mad. Tigre is still groaning, prone on his belly. As I approach, he mutters something in his native tongue that sounds like a bunch of cuss words. Not so good after all, I guess. Time to get revenge for all those stiff hits from earlier. With a mighty heave, I bring the staff down on Tigre's back. He practically bounces, and a lady fan of Tigre in the crowd screams. Realizing how hard I'm hitting now, he quickly scrambles up to his knees. Though, I just hit him right back down. That's what you get. His shoulder twitches and he quickly clutches it with his free hand, rolling onto his stomach. More curses. I hit him again, this time in the soft of his stomach. There's no referee to help him now. I hear him gasp, holding up his paw in front of him, trying to protect himself. This time I hit him in the crotch. Not that there's much to hit. He has a little penis and balls because he's so small. Mine are huge, of course. I have to wear like a super big cup so that things don't flop around. I drop down on top of him, grabbing him by the scruff of his spandex leotard. He whimpers beneath me, his black and orange tail coiled inward between his legs. I lower my voice, speaking in a deep, raspy tone. "Don't stiff arm me again like that or else, Tigre Santos." I think he quivers out and, I won't! He's probably so humiliated now. His eyes are like saucers, looking at me and waiting to see what I do next. Like, completely at my mercy and everything. I bet he'd be really humiliated if I, unmasked him. And then I'll pull him up and hug him in front of everybody. He'd be so ashamed. I'd show them that I'm the real good guy. Maybe he'd like that and feel better. That's fine too. I place my thumbs beneath the bottom of his mask and pull up. Dad's gunshot rings out so loud, it seems to shake the leaves off the trees nearby. Some kind of bird falls from the sky. I think it's a dove because it's all white and stuff. Or at least, it was white. I actually saw pink mist when the birdshot hit it, like in the movies. The rest of the flock keeps flying, as if nothing had happened. Dad looks over his shoulder toward me, his breathing heavy. I can see little wisps of fog when he exhales. It's that cold. It takes him a while to actually speak. "You see that?" "Yeah." He smiles tightly. "I got him!" "You did?" "I'm gonna go grab the carcass. You stay put, alright?" "Okay." Dad turns back, jogging across the dewy grass toward where the bird fell. I adjust myself some and lean against the nearby tree. I wish I was home. My friends are all still probably sleeping in, enjoying their warm, heated houses and all that. I can't focus here. It sucks, but Dad really wanted to go bird hunting. I asked him yesterday why he couldn't just do it alone, and he and Mom just got really mad. I don't even know what sets them off anymore. It could just be the littlest thing, and suddenly everything's all shitty. My rifle is kinda neat, I guess. It's a .22. I played a zombie shooting game at Chase's place that had the exact same kind in it. It's really, really loud, though. Dad made me wear these big ear protectors, but it's still super intense. I swivel it around my arms before bringing the butt up to my shoulder and looking down the sights. I pretend the bush I'm aiming at is a zombie. I could survive in a zombie apocalypse pretty well, probably. There wouldn't be many zombies in Echo, and nearly everyone in town has guns. I just go to Carl's house. It's already like a fortress, and he has tons of food and games. We'd be set. I hear Dad's footsteps and quickly lower the rifle. "That's right. Keep that down." He holds up a pretty messed up looking bird. Its neck is half missing and blood still drips from the hole there. "You've never eaten dove, have you?" "No." "It's like chicken, but stringier." I raise an eyebrow. "Like string cheese, but chicken." "Not exactly, but... well, you'll just have to try it." "Okay." "Now, let's see if you can shoot something." Dad steps behind me, placing his paws on my arms and straightening my posture. "Now, remember what I told you. Always fire on the exhale. Don't flinch at the kick, either. The gun won't smack you if you got a good grip on it and your eye isn't touching the sight." I'm not afraid to shoot a gun like TJ or Carl probably would be. Just a little nervous about the recoil. That's all. Suddenly, Dad grabs my shoulders. "Look, look, look!" He points toward the sky directly above us. A bunch of birds in V-shaped formation are overhead. "Those are ducks! Duck is great. You've had duck before and loved it. Now you can get your own duck. Hurry, get sighted!" I scrambled to get the gun aimed up and my eye lined up with the sight. "Come on!" "I'm trying!" The ducks are already getting pretty far ahead. I can't seem to get lined up right. "Give it to me." No, I've got it!" Next thing I know, Dad's wrenching the butt from my shoulder and bringing the rifle up to his. It only takes him a few seconds to get ready before firing. Just like before, a bird falls from the flock, plummeting to the ground past a clearing of trees. This time, the flock breaks up, scattering. Dad turns, pushing the length of rifle against my chest. "Take your gun." I clutch onto it with both hands, and Dad starts making his way forward. I follow. "Why didn't you fire?" "I was going to. The aiming thing, the sight, it wasn't lining up with my eye." I needed to get it lined up right or else I was going to miss. Son. And then you just yanked it away. You were not listening to what I was telling you. Just like what I was saying this morning. Dad's voice raises. You just can't do anything like you're told, can you? My fingers grip my rifle tighter, and it's like everything goes red. I can! You were being an asshole! I yell so loud my voice cracks. Dad turns, slapping me so hard it makes my ears ring more than the gunshots do. My face burns and I growl into the inside of my jacket. A lump forms in my throat that I try to swallow down. I'm tough. I'm okay. Who taught you to speak like that? Nobody! Oh no, I think I know who. It was Flynn, wasn't it? It isn't right for you to hang around a boy like that. What do you even mean? All the kids around Echo and you cling to the teenage potty-mouthed gay boy. And look what happened. He shakes his head, eyes wide again like he can't believe what he's seeing when he looks at me. You defy your parents to sit around at 5 in the morning watching men grope and hit each other. I'm breathing so hard now it feels like I'm hyperventilating. Fuck you! Wrestling's cool and Flynn is awesome! Dad looks downright disgusted now, like he's gonna be sick. The insides of his ears are bright pink with flush, too. You are sick. When we get home, we're sending you up north to the ranch. I don't care if we have to pull you out of school right now. You mean the compound? Now he's clenching his fists, his tail arched and still behind him. Your mother and I have prayed and prayed, but son, why don't you ever leave me alone? You're so fucking bad, you know that? Stupid asshole! Dad steps forward, fists raised. I bring my rifle up and aim at him. He stops. You are sick! I've never heard Dad speak with so much hate before. That being said, I've never been this angry before either. You're pointing a rifle at your own father. Are you going to shoot me? Huh? I just don't want you to hit me! I yell so loud my voice shifts to a shrieking scream, the rifle shaking on my paws. Everything's all blurry and I can feel my nose running. You deserve to be hit. The words make my stomach hurt for some reason. I throw down the rifle onto the grass and face him. No, you do! You're so awful! I hate you so much! You won't leave me alone! You shit! All you do is threaten me and threaten me and threaten me! And Mom doesn't care! Nobody cares! My throat burns and I swallow back a blubbering cry. Dad's shaking now. He doesn't even look like Dad anymore. I don't know what in God's name Flynn has done to you. You're just mad because you don't have any friends. You don't even have a job. You suck! You're so shitty. You're pathetic. I've hated you for so long. Nobody likes you! I run north, tripping over myself constantly as I can barely see where I'm going. Everything hurts. My insides are burning. Nothing will ever be the same again. I can hear him behind me, panting, furious, like a feral. I come through the clearing, and I hear him stop. When I turn around, he's not looking at me anymore. The duck that Dad shot landed squarely on the hood of an abandoned van. Dad looks at the duck, the van, me, then the sky itself. He sets the rifle down on the ground. What? Next thing I know, he crouches down to his haunches. He rubs at his forehead, his thumbs running along the brim of his too tight scout cap. It almost looks like it's sucking down on his scalp. I can practically see the veins bulge along his temple. He opens his mouth as if to speak, though no sound comes out. Dad's fingers grip at loose strands of grass around his feet, as if they were there to keep him tethered from floating away. I hate looking at him like this. What is he doing? He shuts his eyes. Well, more like he clenches them shut, like he got shampoo in them or something. Is he praying? Fucking stupid idiot. God's not real, you know. Son. He finally speaks, and he doesn't sound like himself. What? From the hood of the truck, little rivers of blood splay out from the duck's chest, dripping down the front of the grill. Its eyes are still open, even though it's dead. I always thought when something died, your eyes closed and your tongue sticks out. It looks like it's staring at me. Dad doesn't respond, but he finally looks up and sees what I'm seeing. He sucks in his chest as if he'd been struck. He shuts his eyes again. His whole body shakes for a moment like he's having a spaz attack. It's not the same van. It's not the same van, he mutters. I don't want to watch this. I'm about to turn and walk away when I see something move in the back of the van. It's just for a split second, but I swear I see a face through the dusty glass. Son? Dad repeats himself. Dad? Again, there's a flash of red, like something bouncing up. Dad, there's someone in the van. Dad says nothing. He won't even look now. There's someone in there, I know it. I wipe my eyes with my sleeve, clenching my fists and stepping closer to the rear window. I smear away the dust from the glass and press the tip of my muzzle against the window. Nothing. What the hell? When I step back, Dad's up on his feet again. He doesn't look angry anymore. Just sad, or empty, I guess. He picks up his rifle from the ground, holding it sort of limply with one paw. Without a word, he turns and heads back through the clearing from where we came. I stand there for a while, listening to his steps trail off. My gut begins to feel like it's being twisted into a knot. Why didn't he say anything? He always says something. Any other time he opens his mouth, I practically flinch. So why do I feel like this now? He won't actually leave me out here, will he? I cross my arms over my chest, hugging myself. Minutes pass and nothing happens. It's like I'm rooted in place, constantly wiping my eyes and nose. Just gotta be tough. I mean, I am tough. I just don't know what to do. What the hell am I supposed to do? I hate this. Why did I have to say all that? Nothing will ever be the same again. Even if I get to go home, my parents will just ship me off to live with my uncle in the compound. You know what? Maybe that'll be fine. At least then my parents couldn't threaten me with that anymore. Maybe I'll even like making airplane parts. I don't need video games, TV, or my friends. And that'll be fine, because at least I won't be around them, especially Dad. Still no footsteps. I would hear if he started up the truck from here, I think. I guess he hasn't left yet. Maybe I should start a fire or something. I never could get one going on my own in the past, but that's probably because I wasn't trying very hard. I look around and start gathering any twigs or dry grass I can find. Everything is still kinda damp, though that shouldn't matter as long as I rub hard enough. Flynn would probably make a joke about that. Or at least show me what the heck I'm supposed to do. Flynn is the outdoorsy one of the group who knows all this survival stuff by heart. Which is weird because he's gay and all. He's like the least gay acting gay guy ever. I remember once he told me that liking girls is too girly for him. I guess that makes sense. He's not like the kind you see in the movies or how my parents describe them. I sigh, sitting down and splaying out a little bit of dry grass and twigs with a single coarse stone in the middle. After that, I take two of the sturdiest looking sticks and begin to rub them together, like they do on TV. Here I am, rubbing a bunch of faggots. And, of course, nothing's happening. They're getting kind of warm, but they won't rub right. Not enough friction, I think? I grit my teeth, letting my heavy tail flop down to the soil behind me. I don't even care if it gets dirty now. The pads of my paws are starting to really hurt, so I bite the inside of my cheek. I look down at the pile of twigs and think I see a spark. I quicken the rubbing, only for the twig to slip and scrape along the edge of my paw. I cry out in pain as a thin line of blood appears in my fur. Ugh! I inhale sharply. This is so stupid. I hate this. I throw the sticks down and cover my face with my paws, sucking on my cut. What am I doing? God, what am I supposed to do? I rock myself back and forth slowly, remembering what the school counselor told me. Imagine these feelings as a physical thing that you can hold. Then take deep breaths and begin to rip these feelings apart as if they were a piece of paper that you didn't want anymore. Finally, imagine a calm place, a happy place, somewhere you can be alone and at peace. I sniff, making little ripping motions and closing my eyes. I've won the fight. People in the crowd can't believe it. I look across the sea of faces. They all hate me. Well, maybe not all. I know there's one in this crowd who doesn't. I see him in the back, where he usually likes to be. Dad's still standing there, his eyes puffy. Dad, please. You were right. For once. I swallow back a blubbering sob, wiping snot from my muzzle. It's been so long, I can't take this anymore. Stop it! Things used to be different. He inhales raggedly, tugging at the end of his facial scarf with one free paw. I used to feel things in real time. Now it's all like a memory of a thing. He continues to stare at the van. Like this isn't happening. It happened, it will happen, I don't know. It don't matter. I feel his paw tug tighter on the rifle. No, please stop! I pull back on my end of it. You know you can't stop me. I love you, please stop it! He's not even crying anymore. He's just standing there, only turning to look at me whenever he pulls the barrel of the gun closer to his chin. I wish I was stronger. I really, really wish. Thought I could move away. Forget it ever happened. Move on. Find redemption in the Lord. It's never that simple, is it? I don't know what you're talking about! My voice is shrill and hoarse at this point. Sometimes I can't even speak. I want to call out for help, but there's no one around. But Eliza had to move back here, and I loved her. So I had to grin and bear it, as they say. He wets his lips. I can't. He rolls his eyes in a strange, exaggerated fashion. Anytime I try to escape, be it physical-like or through some other such diversions, it all just keeps coming back to me. Just going in circles. I begin sobbing on his pant leg, clinging to it as I pull as hard as I can on the gun. It's never enough. He won't let go. Let's just go home, okay? Please, let's go home. I'm sorry. Dad says nothing. Something stirs from within the back of the van. Even with my vision blurred with tears, it's clearer than it was before. It's a face. Dad begins to move again, bringing the rifle end up to his chin. No, please! I grab Dad's paw, trying to pull his fingers away from the trigger. I yank as hard as I can. No eyes. Hey, is there any more of that oatmeal you bought left? TJ stands beside the bed, peering down at me. Oh no, were you asleep? I blink. Chase, I'm so sorry. You're moving around so much, I didn't know. Chase. Right. It's okay, TJ. I push myself up, feeling the bedsheet sticking to the back of my fur. My shirt is drenched and I smell awful. Are you okay? A concerned look crosses the lynx's face. I'm not sure how to respond. I'll get some water. He smiles at me in that eerily genuine way he does. He turns and walks to the sink. There's a subtle sound of oldies music coming from behind me, the suite next door. Sunlight peeks in through the beige drapery, but everything outside is just a pale glow. I can't gauge what time it is. I try to move my paw. It's slow to react. Every piece of my body is tingling with a sort of damp vibration. Sleep paralysis? But I'm awake. And I moved just a second ago? Maybe I'm just dehydrated. I blink again and little floaties dance in front of my eyes. Blobs, swirls, and smiley faces that flee whenever my gaze chases them. I let out a long exhale through my nostrils and shift the weight of my tail behind me. Today is Saturday. Today is the day. Isn't it beautiful today? Did I say that out loud? He holds the polystyrene cup directly in front of my muzzle. I can smell it. The water. Way too mineralized. Like a foggy calcium broth. But calcium can't hurt you, it's just bones. Like a clockwork automaton, I feel my arm jerk and arise, grasping the cup and bringing the contents to my lips. I finish it in 3 swallows. Water. It's been so long since I swam, and I'm starting to really feel the need for it. Air is fine, but it's just nothing. Water is something. It's got pressure. It hugs you as you move through it. Nobody understands that like we do, I guess. I realize TJ is still staring at me and I give him a look. Another smile, this one more sheepish. With a small grunt, I manage to throw my legs out from under the covers, my feet touching the firm carpet beneath. I rub the sleep from my eyes. I slept like 11 hours. Why do I feel like this? Looking around, I notice that the bed next to me is empty. Where's Jenna? My voice comes out higher pitched than I intended, and I quickly clear my throat. She went out. I'm not sure exactly where. I stare at him, my eyes still only half open. We were supposed to go hiking. I mean, she said she'd still like to. I'm sure she'll be back soon. Why do you want to hike so much? What? TJ frowns. You grew up here and you hiked all the time as a kid. Shouldn't you be sick of it by now? The lynx dips his paws into his pockets, his lips pursing as he delays his response. Well, my parents didn't want me going out too far, or anywhere too dangerous. There's still a lot of trails I haven't been on. This is Echo. You can see everything around you for miles. There's not much surprise when you can see the entire trail. Like, going through a forest or a big mountain, I can understand some of the appeal, but not this. I sort of raise my arms and gesture to everything and nothing at the same time. TJ, meanwhile, just shakes his head. I think I understand what you mean, Chase, but hiking isn't about being surprised. So what if you can see what's coming? It's what happens when you're there that matters. TJ smiles again with that same youth pastor-esque vigor. I can tell it's genuine, but there's always that feeling I get that there's something going on behind those blue eyes that's not right. Growing up, I always chalked it up to his unwaveringly hypocritical dogma in contrast to my whole liking dicks thing, but now I don't know. It was never enough to bother me too much, but I'm starting to wonder if this is what Flynn sees too. Jenna ate that last of the oatmeal. Aww. I guess I'll stop by the diner again then. I wanted to check up on Janice anyway. What are you gonna have? I don't know, I'm not usually the breakfast type. When I wake up, everything in my mouth just tastes gross and it kills my palate. Oh, yes, I understand. TJ nods, turning to move back to the mini fridge. He opens it, staring inside as if looking hard enough would make a fruit parfait appear. That being said, I'm starting to miss the Student Union food course something fierce. I think I hear TJ chuckle a little. You would really like our campus's cafeteria. We've got a cereal bar with around 25 different types of cereal to choose from. You could even make your own protein bars and that sort of thing. It's really cool. Protein? Why did I pronounce it like that? I don't know. That actually sounds pretty good, even though my palate sort of tastes like a mix of sawdust and barf right now. The lynx pulls out a wrapped rice treat, peering at it with a squinty expression. That's a creative way of describing that. I'm almost not hungry anymore. He holds up the treat, the blue foil catching the window light in a bit of a curious way. I'm not sure why this is in the fridge. Oh, I just threw the whole bag of the stuff I picked up at the convenience store in there. Would you like this? Yeah, sure, I'll take it. TJ nods, tossing the treat in a gentle arc my way. I almost catch it. Ow. I rub the end of my snout as TJ looks at me wide-eyed. Oh, crimey, that hit you square, Chase. I'm sorry. What a British sentence that was. That's okay. I'm still waking up, I guess. I begin unwrapping the foil packaging. I'm gonna eat this and shower, okay? Not at the same time, right? No. Okay, good. Just making sure I didn't hit you too hard. Another sheepish smile. I manage one in return this time. I take a bite of the treat, and to my surprise, it's actually pretty okay cold. After a moment, I notice the little blue light flashing on my phone. New message. A pang of guilt sets in as I realize my first thought is, please don't be Leo. Come over, boy. I stare at the message for a good 8 seconds before remembering Carl's shtick. God. Wait, oh shit, that's right. Today's his interview. I'll be over soon. I pause. Winky face. There. I set the phone back down on the nightstand and toss the treat wrapper into the bin beside the bed. TJ glances up at me momentarily. He's also looking at his phone. Carl's got a job interview up in Peyton today. TJ looks up from his phone, grinning. Wow, that's really great! I still remember when you worked at that market shop we used to have on Elizabeth Street. Where's this one at? A print shop, I think? I don't know. Carl seemed kind of hesitant to talk about it. Oh. Well, tell him that I wish him good luck, and that it's always really important that you smile. If you look like you're happy and excited, then the interviewers might get that way too. It's infectious, right? Right. I've gotten literally all my jobs just because my parents were friends with somebody who was hiring. I suppose I never really had to worry about interviewing. A noise comes from outside, the sound of jingling keys and the door being unlocked. So the police finally showed up? Jenna steps inside, giving me a bit of a curious look over when she notices I'm still in my sleepwear. Are they going to do anything? I doubt it. She strides across the room, grabbing a bottle of water from the mini fridge. Why is that? The cops seemed more suspicious of me than anything. She lets out a little sigh of exasperation. They asked me if I had been taking any drugs. Jesus. Guess they're not used to seeing people our age around here that aren't. I think it was more anti-native sentiment than anything. Really? Yes. Jenna looks back to me. Chase, you really should shower. I blink. What? I noticed when I walked in. This whole room has your oily musk scent. It's not very flattering. I frown deeply, covering my armpits and pushing my tail back over my behind. Alright. I was going to anyway. I rise to a stand before moving to the bathroom. TJ gives me a sympathetic look as I pass. I shut the door behind me after stepping inside. With a few quick tugs, I remove my shirt and underwear, then place them on the edge of the counter. At home, I just throw them on the floor, but I don't really trust how clean the linoleum is here. I step into the shower. It gets hot quick, so I fiddle with the handle some. There's some gray fur tucked in the corner, so I'm guessing TJ took one this morning. I bend down and pick up the tiny, complimentary shampoo bottle from the rack and begin to lather the contents over my body. It's not exactly the best for my type of fur, but it'll work for now. Though I still can't shake the feeling that I have cigarette smoke baked into my pores. You know, in comparison to the communal dorm showers, this is actually kind of nice. Contrary to what many may think, they're not as sexy as porn makes you believe. I begin lathering further down. Usually I rub one out during shower time, though at the moment I'm pretty devoid of those feelings. Ever since I got here, back to Echo, I felt more detached from everything than I usually do. Like all this stuff is going on around me and I'm just here. When I woke up this morning, it was as if I wasn't sure what was the dream and what was real. I don't even recall what the dream was about. It's usually distracting me before I could really archive it, or however it works with remembering dreams. There's this feeling of sorrow, fear, and general helplessness. Then all of a sudden, power. Or agency? I'm not sure how to describe it. It's familiar, but I don't know why. Like strange nostalgia, without all the rose-tinted happiness. Dudes, I don't know about this. I peek into the bathroom, watching as Carl stares at himself in the mirror, running his fingers through his hair. I'm sure you look fine. Easy for you to say. You can't even grow hair. Carl sets the trimmer down, running his fingers through his beard. You tell him, Chase. Carl looks at me, and I have to agree that he looks quite a bit better. You look fantastic. A lot cleaner. Thanks. Now you might want to get the gamer stink off of you. You smell like JRPGs and energy drinks. I find myself snickering, though Carl doesn't look anywhere near a point of laughter. He just quietly shuts the door on my face. So Chase, didn't expect I'd see you again. I look over to Daxton, who's standing beside the bathroom door with his arms crossed. Neither did I. Carl asked me to come over, so I did. Daxton nods. Do you think he's got this? Haven't known Carl long enough to say, really. I hope he does. I can't help but think a lot of things could go wrong, you know? Carl doesn't get out much. It's weird thinking about the future like that, isn't it? I cocked my head some in the amphibian's direction. What do you mean? The infinite possibilities of things that can happen. So expect the worst? With an infinite number of timelines, there's no such thing as a worst-case scenario, just an infinite number of varying shades of bad. Do you actually believe that? He clicks his tongue, waving his hand dismissively. No, it was an episode of Ad Astra. Yeah. Daxton perks a furless brow toward me at the sound of the front door opening. We turn around and make our way toward the entrance hall next to the kitchen. The familiar heavy footfalls are a dead giveaway of who's here. Didn't know job interviews were a fucking group event. Flynn's tall form meanders in, carrying a few Tupperware containers in a plastic bag. He doesn't look at either of us. Well, he wanted us to be here, and I didn't have anything else going on. He's in the shower now. I fidget with the inside of my pockets, trying to look nonchalant. Daxton's big blue eyes dart from me to Flynn, then back again. I have to go pee in something. I'll be right back. Flynn's mouth twitches, as if he's about to call Daxton back, but relents. Instead, he sets the bag on the kitchen island and begins rifling through it. His large tail twitches, and he furrows his brow, seemingly trying really hard to concentrate on whatever he's doing. Which, as I look closer, is essentially just rearranging the Tupperware in the bag over and over. Flynn? He stops. He shifts his gaze toward me, and I'm at a loss of what to say. Part of me wants to call him a fucking weird, hypocritical asshole. The other part... well, I'm not really sure about the other part, yet. Maybe if I just broach the topic of... Jace? None of this shit matters. He gestures between us. I'm not gonna try to speak cryptic to you here about feelings and shit. I just need to know you're gonna keep your promise, okay? He's frowning down at me, but his expression is more uneasy than outright stern. Flynn... Fuck! His fist hits the countertop, and next thing I know, he's moving around the kitchen and grabbing paper towels. Lasagna is goddamn leaking everywhere. It's like a fucking menstrual pad in there. Why'd you bring lasagna? Because Lardass needs to eat something besides pizza and self-hatred for a change. As opposed to you, who eats salads and self-hatred? Shut the fuck up. At least I have a self. What's that supposed to mean? What was that supposed to mean? Flynn doesn't respond, Gila busy with stacking paper towels underneath the bag before shoving it in the fridge. I hear the sound of hooves on floorboards and turn around. Carl had shuffled into the living room so quietly we didn't even notice. How does it look? He looks good, but I'm more concerned with the fact that he looks more insecure than I've ever seen him. He shifts from hoof to hoof, not making eye contact at all, his fingers pulling at the rolled up sleeves. Very nice. You kind of look like you're pledging off a lambda, but it works. What? Carl looks over at me and I give a start, realizing how bad my silence must have seemed. You do look great, Carl. But, Daxton chuckles and Carl's eyes widen. What? The beanie. Do you always wear that thing? Carl lifts a paw to it. Usually. You can't wear that. How do you even get it on? It's stretchy, and my head fur looks awful. Seriously, you can't wear a beanie to an interview. Carl's getting all fidgety again, so Flynn butts in. Don't wear it. Oh, come on! He looks sad and angry at the same time, which gives me pause. You go to work with your shirt half off. I'll wear it if I want. This is my interview. Usually Flynn would banter back, calling Carl a stupid dumbass or something of that nature, but he says nothing. After a couple seconds of silence, Daxton coughs. Daxton looks at me, then back to Carl. Well, I reckon that's alright. Carl sighs and shifts around again. We watch him expectantly. Dudes, this feels weird as all. It's new. You'll get used to it. I pull out my phone to look at the time. Alright, we really need to head out. We should get there early. As we head to the door, Daxton makes as if to follow us. Flynn turns around to face him as Carl heads out the door. Hey, Dax. He stops. What? After the interview, Chase, and some of our other friends, we're gonna be doing something. Wait, is Carl on board with this plan too? Daxton raises a brow. Oh? So could you fuck off for a bit? Jesus, Flynn. Part of me wouldn't mind a guy with Daxton's attitude present at what will surely be the biggest hour of the week. And to keep Flynn in check. Daxton doesn't budge, giving Flynn an indiscernible look. After a while, Flynn just sighs, rubbing his brow. It's got to do with personal stuff. Oh, really? See, why didn't you just say that? You wouldn't want to come. There's gonna be some heavy shit. Are you the heavy shit in question? Flynn says nothing. After a moment, Daxton just exhales and shakes his head. Just let me know how the interview goes. As the salamander passes me, he speaks in a hushed tone. You deserve better, man. I look down at my feet before heading out to the car. You don't. Carl still looks confused after Flynn and I came out to the car without Daxton. Where's Dude Man? I make a show of buckling my seatbelt. We'll talk about it after your interview. What? He's not coming? He's the guy who knows the guy who runs the place. Yeah, well, you weren't going to be bringing him inside with you anyway. Carl stares at the dashboard as I back out, pretending to be distracted so I can muster up something reassuring. You know, Carl, you should talk about some of your art while you're in there. I hear it's good to look like you have a passion, especially one that's tangentially related to what you do. To be honest, I have no clue what sorts of skills you need at a print shop. I look in my rearview mirror at the Ram, who still isn't saying anything. Hopefully not many. By the way, Flynn. Flynn's nostrils flare as if he's bracing himself. The big lizard had to back his seat up all the way to give himself enough legroom in my tiny sedan. I need to stop by City Hall before... well, you know, before we do the thing. Why? He responds with a wary dryness. I need to scan some photos to my thumb drive. I forgot to do it when I was there last. I know where everything I need is. Shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. Yeah, okay. I got my keycard in my wallet. Flynn scratches his groin idly, looking out the window as we pass the diner. I'm kind of surprised he didn't protest more. Carl stays quiet as we drive through the rest of Echo, and I swear to avoid all the potholes, and I take a drink. As I'm merging onto the highway, Flynn speaks up. I cooked you some shit to celebrate you joining the workforce and such. Fancy-ass organic store ramen with the spiced sausage stuff, and lasagna. Same recipe that my uncle used. That's, premature, right? If there's a food reward waiting for you, your fat ass can do anything. I resist the urge to nod in agreement. Hope you're right. We fall back into silence, and it stays that way for the remaining 20-minute drive. Carl gets more nervous the closer we get. I can see his knees bouncing out of the corner of my eye as he stares out the window. Flynn reaches back and puts a hand on one of them as we pull into the parking lot of the print shop. The Gila mutters something to the Ram. I can't make any of it out. You look awesome and you're gonna do amazing. Carl starts taking deep breaths, staring out the windshield. Just be yourself. Everyone loves a relaxed employee. Why did I pronounce it like that? I wish you'd let me have a smoke before we left. Yeah, go into an interview smelling like pot. Great idea. Carl giggles nervously, but otherwise doesn't move. Do you want us to go in with you? Carl shakes his head quickly, unbuckling his seatbelt as he opens the car door. No, man, I'll be fine. Okay, cool. I'll be waiting. He looks to Flynn, who just gives him a little nod. I grin at him, but he just shuts the door and ambles up to the print shop. He pushes on the doors, and when they don't move, he pushes harder, shaking the glass. I start to open my door to tell him to pull instead, but he seems to figure it out before I have to and disappears inside. Oh, Carl. Fucking hell. I look over and Flynn has his palms over his face. I sigh, leaning my seat back. I try to take a nap because it feels like I haven't slept in ages for some reason. Though, the heat beating down through the window starts becoming too uncomfortable. I turn the AC back on, then shuffle through the stations, but I only find twangy country and mariachi. I look at the time. 10:10 a.m. If the interview started on time, then he was probably almost done with it by now. I sort of want to go inside, but I know Carl wouldn't want me to. I settle back again and close my eyes, trying to get some relief from the failing AC. Then the door rattles and I hear haphazard footsteps. I open my eyes, but no one's there. Flynn doesn't seem to have noticed, his own eyes closed. I do catch some movement disappearing around the side of the store, and I lean around to get a better look. I wait, but Carl, at least I think it's Carl, doesn't come back from around the corner. Looking around, I slowly open my door. Carl? Flynn awakens with a start, looking around some. He out yet? Nothing. Carl? I yell it, but he still doesn't come out. Feeling some dread build up in my stomach, I get out of the car and slowly walk around the side of the building. Flynn joins me. The hell's going on? It's an alley, between the print shop and what I think is a laundromat. Nothing is in the alley except for a few dumpsters and clumps of garbage. I step carefully around puddles covered in oil slick and wonder if maybe he just really wanted to smoke. Carl? Something shifts on the other side of one of the dumpsters and I hear sniffling. Wordlessly, I walk around the dumpster to the other side. Carl is bent over, his back to me, paws on his knees. His whole body is shaking, and his breaths are ragged. Holy shit, Carl! Before I can do anything, Flynn's at his side. You okay, man? What happened? The stench of vomit hits my nose, and I don't need to look closely to know what the puddle between Carl's hooves is. Carl makes sure to turn his face away from us, not saying a word. Shit. I dash back to the car and open the passenger door so I can get to the glove box. I pull out a few napkins before hurrying back to the Ram. When I return, Flynn is quietly rubbing his back. He takes them from me wordlessly and starts wiping his face. The last time I'd seen Carl like this was just last year, when he'd had his panic attack at school. I didn't think he'd have that problem now, after all the therapy and time away. I feel kinda useless just standing there watching them. He's at least not hyperventilating. The Ram has his horns pressed up against the wall, taking deep breaths as he wipes his face again. Why do we suck at everything? He says it quietly, between gasps, but I can make it out. Not everything. Come on, let's go. He starts to pull on his arm, but he yanks it from him violently. Don't touch me! Flynn and I are stunned into silence. I just stare at him, mouth open. He glances at me and his eyes are red, and for once, it's not because of weed. Carl starts off toward the car on his own, spitting off to the side as he does. Carl, what happened? He whirls on me. I fucked up! Obviously. Any more fucking questions? A few, yeah. His voice breaks apart on the last sentence and he turns away from us as his face starts to screw up. My stomach feels hollow as I watch Carl get into the car. I've never, ever seen him like this. He immediately hunches forward behind the driver's seat, head in his paws. I slowly walk up to the driver's side door, feeling like shit myself. Flynn joins me. The Gila tugs at the scales around his chin, teeth grit. His expression is just bizarre, like intermittent smiling in between almost nauseous-looking face contortions. Fuck! We sit for a while, waiting to see if Carl is going to say anything. He does. I'm sorry. He blurts it out through his fingers. I look over at him, scared to say anything in case I say the wrong thing. It was a disaster, dudes. He takes in a deep, shuddering breath. You could tell I wasn't into it right away. I was awkward as fuck. He leans back and tugs at his shirt. This isn't me, and they knew it, and it got me nervous. I've been nervous ever since I put on these clothes, since I got this stupid trim. We sit in silence for a long, long time until Carl finally looks at me and smiles. God damn it. We all knew this was gonna happen, right? Just like at Pueblo with you, Chase. And with your uncle, Flynn. I'm just a fuck up.
Nah. This is my fault, man. I told you I was gonna coach you and I never got around to it. And I'm the tit dirt who made Dax stay behind. Maybe he could have helped? I don't fucking know.
The Gila takes in a seething breath.
You can't be expected to go into the shit blind and spit out exactly what some mid-level manager named Skyle wants to hear. Our world's fucked like that. Just banging walls sometimes.
No, dude. I'm the one that screwed up the interview. Carl settles back in his seat. Now with that fuck up out of the way. I sigh, looking out at the hazy horizon, in the direction of where I know Echo is. On to the next.
None of this fucking matters, Carl. Don't worry.
Flynn gives me a look, then closes his eyes. I don't know if Flynn believes what he's saying. So with that, I turn on the ignition and pull out of the parking lot, leaving the print shop in its alley far, far behind us. We're going to leave off here for now. And next time, we will continue on with Saturday. Until then, thanks for watching, everybody. Bye!